Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. This is probably going to be one of the last Entrepreneurial Biome podcasts that I do, for now at least. We're going into season 2, or season really like kind of 500. I've done so many radio shows and different podcasts over the years. We had Creating Beyond Reality for a long time, and then Creation of Living, and then Entrepreneurial Biome. I was on so many different platforms. I think my first radio show was like in 2014 or something like that. And I've been doing stuff like ever since, for the most part. And time to switch again. I'm going to be moving over to a new podcast, new title, new platform, the Creation of a Living podcast, which I did before this one. And now it just kind of feels like it's time to go back to that, or not even go back, but go to it again and really expand that conversation. And Creation of Living to me is this kind of topic, I would say, or like conversation that is really near and dear to my heart and my living. And it is the invitation to live your life from beauty, from pleasure, from relaxation, from elegance, from hedonism, and also as the intensity that you be as a creature. So many of us have a lot of intensity, and that's something that we try to kind of resist a lot of times and overcome. And for me, one of the great gifts of the tools of Access Consciousness has been to really embrace my intensity, and add space to it, add relaxation to it, add like the intensity of pleasure, the intensity of hedonism, the joy of being alive that comes when you are an intense mofo. And I am definitely a self-proclaimed intense mofo. And when my life isn't like firing on all cylinders, I get bored easily. I get kind of, kind of antsy and unsettled. And I want to do more, create more, be more, experience more. And it's something that I judged for so long. Growing up as a kid, I was always judged by others around me for that. And I judged myself and developed this real sense of self-judgment, and kind of monitoring myself to not be so different and not be so intense and not need things to be so perfect all the time. And, all those things that we judge ourselves for. And to me, it's not really about having things be perfect. And yet I do also know what is possible, and also love to explore more of what is possible all the time. And that has really been it. I didn't realize for so long that that's different, and most people are raised to believe that, things, you should just really be happy with how things are. You should accept them how they are. You should, just be grateful for what you have. Most people are told, so many people are told that growing up as kids. Can't you just be grateful for what you have? Can't you just stop asking for more? Because our very awareness that more is possible is actually a threat to people's realities. And people don't want to be reminded that they're not asking for more, and they're not willing to ask for more. And when we are somebody who shows up in their world with this like intense, insatiable desire for more, it's so triggering for people, because they're not necessarily willing to do that and be that themselves. So your desire for more is going to be something that is constantly and affront to people's realities, and a constant reminder of what they're not willing to choose, not willing to have. That's not to make anybody wrong or say that someone who isn't willing to really live with that kind of intense lust for more is wrong. It's just that it's also not wrong to desire it, And I think so many of us have had that conditioning and that messaging, and then we've taken it on and we do it for ourselves, and we use our awareness of all of that to really limit and inhibit what it is that we're willing to ask for and what we're willing to create. And the thing that I love about the tools of Access Consciousness is you can create anything. You can actually create anything that you desire, anything that you ask for. You just have to, approach it from a different way. Really, the energetic tools of asking questions and following the energy and making choices that you don't necessarily know how they're going to come about, but you know that they will somehow, because the universe is a malleable, ever-evolving place. We're part of it. And as we explore and we ask for more and we, choose more, we get to really we influence the evolution of the universe. I mean, we are the universe. We are part of the universe. The universe is us. And when we get that, and we get that, every single day when you wake up, you can ask for more and it will become part of your reality. Now, there may be a lot of people in your life that don't want you to do that. They don't want you to function that way. And that's okay. Don't worry about it. We can spend there's a lot of tools in Access Consciousness for kind of getting over, the judgments of other, like being concerned with the judgments of other people. And at the same time, like, what if you just were so busy creating your life and enjoying your life, having that creation of living, that you actually didn't concern yourself with that at all? That's actually possible. We just have to choose where we want to put our attention. Do you want to put your attention on the judgments of others, other people trying to control you, other people using fear and hate and doubt and blame and guilt and all these things to try to control you into a more acceptable way of being? Or do you want to not pay attention to that and create what it is that you know is possible? That to me is a part of the creation of living. And I've kind of given it some words, some ways to kind of talk about these energies that have been something that I've really played with and nurtured for so long in my own life. And at different points, I've had classes and, like I said, I had a podcast at one point called Creation of Living, but where I really, have been inviting people to these conversations, and somehow now really has the sense of being the time more than ever for that. And I'm excited to be coming to that again, direct conversation with the season 2 podcast, Creation of Living. And to me, it's like the acknowledgement that we're different, the acknowledgement that we have our own unique intensity of desire for more, and intensity of being, and intensity of possibility and awareness. And then being willing to relax into that, be willing to have relaxation and a lot of space with that intensity that allows us to have a life that is about hedonism. It is about not the judgment of hedonism, but the choice of hedonism, like the living from a depth of pleasure in every moment. And hedonism in this reality kind of is synonymous with gluttony. It's more of a judgeable word. One of my missions is to make it not so, or at least to show people that there's a different possibility, and have hedonism actually be something that's valued, and something that is pursued as a way of honoring you, and a way of also honoring your body. And the elegance that can come with that, the elegance of that, which is really about the ease, like effortless actualization and creation, like having ease and effortlessness and like the maximum yield from minimum effort. And all of that is possible when we listen to our bodies and we have that sense of elegance. We have that sense of pursuing pleasure and living from that space. Now, our bodies, to me, are the body is a very central part of the conversation of creation and living, because it is. Our bodies are really the things that experience pleasure in this world, that experience beauty, that experience, the fullness of being alive. And if we don't have bodies, we still have a being. But our bodies are here on this beautiful planet to experience and have fun and enjoy. And what if that was actually the purpose of being alive, was to enjoy it? A very radical way of seeing things, thanks to Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, who's really invited me to that again and again. That, what if the purpose of life was really to have fun and to enjoy it? It wasn't necessarily to change the world. It wasn't necessarily to like make the world a better place, from the judgment of what that looks like and you deciding how that's going to look for other people, but actually a sense of you having like just including you, because so many of us tend to not include ourselves, not include our bodies, and sort of, not give ourselves permission to desire more and the intensity of more that we know that we can have. And when we do that, it's such a dishonoring of what our bodies know is possible, what is possible, and what so many of us came here to live and be. What our bodies know is possible is like so much pleasure and so much beauty. And I think all of us, you can probably relate to, like, have you ever been in a space that, whether it's nature, like I have here, I wanted to be outside today, but there's oftentimes a lot of noises here in Mexico. I'm at my house in Mexico, but there's this big, beautiful valley here and the ocean and the jungle. And it's like, there's like with nature, that can be such a gift to our bodies. Beautiful natural places, a sense of space, the contribution that the plants and the soil and the water and the animals can be. And there are also constructed spaces, like developed spaces, interior spaces, architectural spaces that also are a massive contribution to our bodies and to what else is possible. The Castello di Casal Borgone is one of those for me. It is a beautiful castle that was developed by the founders of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas and Dane here, and some other amazing people that purchased this. I think it's from maybe like the 16th century or 17th century castle in northern Italy, and they restored it. And it is an absolutely stunningly beautiful space. It is such a gift and such a contribution. And for me, when I went to the castle for the first time, it was really this sense of like, it enveloped me with this sense of beauty and hedonism and elegance and space. And I found for me that I could actually relax in that space in ways that I am not able to in a lot of other places. And for so long, I kind of made myself wrong for that. Like, oh, why can't I just be happy with what is? And why can't I just, why do I have to be so picky? And why do I have to be so demanding? And why do I have to be, such a queen? Because I know what's possible, and I know what I love, and I know what I've experienced to the degree that I have, and always asking for more. What intense beauty, intense elegance, intense hedonism, intense aliveness, how much that can allow me to relax. Intensity can support relaxation for people that are the seekers of the world, the humanoids that we call them in Access Consciousness, or the X-Men, people that are different. Intensity can be deeply relaxing and nourishing, especially when it is an intensity of hedonism, beauty, pleasure, elegance, and your whole world expands into that. And I love being in natural spaces and, interior spaces that have like that match my intensity in that way, and that have that much of a sense of like being curated for a purpose, and I would say the castle really was curated and created for a purpose in a way, like with the to be an invitation to a different possibility and to that kind of intensity of hedonism and elegance and beauty and relaxation. And I'm so grateful for that. I really have it's shown me something different. And like I said, every time I go to the castle, I get to like my life changes. My whole life changes from being there. I can just drop into this silence and the space and the relaxation and the peace that is there, without giving up the intensity. I used to try to meditate. I used to try to just sit and try to quiet my mind. That never worked for me, because there wasn't enough going on. For X-Men, for humanoids, for seekers of the world, we need more. We need more going on. So a lot of times the relaxation can come with a fullness of engagement with the molecules, a fullness of activity, a fullness of a lot of different energies. And that actually allows us to relax into the intensity that we are. And that has been such a beautiful gift, of being in the castle, of places like this, like intensely beautiful, natural places, where you just, it's like being held, being like swaddled by by the space. I used to swaddle my son when he was a baby. We would double swaddle him. He loved being swaddled. And we would just wrap him so tight in this little bundle, and he would be this, like, you couldn't even bend him like that. He would be like so tight in his blankets. And, and he just would deeply relax, because he's an intense creature. And he would sleep better, if he was swaddled like that. And, a lot of babies really do like that. And I have that moment sometimes for me where I'm like, I just want to be swaddled. I want to be like squeezed, And if you see the Temple Grandin movie, I love that movie. It's a really beautiful movie about a lady with autism. And she basically kind of created a thing, like a squeeze box where she would get into it. This was influenced by her work with cattle, because they do this with cows, where she would get into this contraption and it would squeeze, like she would pull something and it would somehow squeeze her body and allow her to relax. That's a kind of intensity that allows for relaxation. And sometimes we need like a physical input that creates that. And sometimes it's the intensity of space, the intensity of beauty, the intensity of pleasure. Like I was chatting with somebody the other day about the American tradition of Thanksgiving and turkey. We have all these things. We have turkey at Thanksgiving. I've never talked to anybody that likes turkey, but somehow everybody makes turkey on Thanksgiving. It's very baffling to me. I don't really do Thanksgiving. And I was saying, if I'm going to do Thanksgiving, what I like to do, which I don't even usually do Thanksgiving, but is get like a jar of beautiful caviar and eat that, with a spoon. Because I would rather have that kind of intensity of like what happens in my body when I eat caviar or when I eat oysters, like this, like explosion of the ocean into my cells, and be so present with it, than like eating this plate full of turkey and all these other things. So, and everybody has their way. It's not making Thanksgiving wrong, but, so many of us have such a different way of being with all these things: food, space, like how we live, how we create our businesses, how we create our lives, how we create our relationships. And if you acknowledge that intensity is something that is a priority for you, not from the grit of it or the grittiness of it, but the relaxation that it can afford you, and contribute to you, then there's so much that can change and transform. And we get to relax into this hedonistic, elegant, beautiful, intense universe that I call the creation of living. So I guess this is just a little bit of a segue, shall we say, into the next season of the podcast universe that I have been curating over many years. This might be the last episode. I don't really know. We'll see if the other one is ready next week. If it is, we'll be there. I mean, you'll still find it on my YouTube channel, on the podcast page on my website, which is heathernichols.com/podcast. You will still find it, in all the places, but I think on like iTunes, it's going to have a different channel, it'll be in various places. Podbean, we still have it there. So I don't even know where all the places it goes. It goes on Spotify, I know. But the best place to find it is on my website, heathernichols.com/podcast, or my YouTube channel. You can definitely find whatever's going on next Wednesday. You'll find it there, and we'll see where we go. I mean, the entrepreneurial biome for me is like this. It's the fertile ground from which all of these things emerge and are created, and this sense of like creating an ecosystem that is so deeply and intensely harmonious and generative that it just nourishes everything that we create. And that definitely, those energies will still be woven through everything that I create from here. And if you would like more creation of living, kind of those energies in your life, I do have we're going to be doing an introduction to creation of living, as a class in Prague, the night before the Access Consciousness Global Foundation class. So May something, I think it's May 7th is when that will be happening. The Global Foundation, I believe, starts May 8th. I have to double check that, but and 2025, depending on when you're listening to this. So we'll be doing a Creation of Living introductory class the evening before in Prague. This is a class that only occurs in person because we always have beautiful food, and it's about the body and the celebration of beauty, and being alive, and pleasure and hedonism. Also we'll be doing some Access Consciousness Foundation classes of my own in the summer. One in Budapest in the first weekend of July, and one in Boulder, Colorado at my home in August. And those will have a creation of living focus. So we'll be bringing in lots of beautiful, elegant, pleasurable, body-centered experiences and conversations and possibilities and cocktails and food and things like that. In those classes, that's really, really fun and such a beautiful, beautiful exploration of living. So you can have that in-person deliciousness. I always love to be in person with people. It's so fun to actually be with other people's bodies and contribute so much more in that way. So you know where to find me. So stay abreast if you would like to, and what can you choose today that would actually massively increase the pleasure, the hedonism, the elegance, the relaxation, and the intensity of your living. And only you and your body know what that is for you. And as you do, your life will expand. And really part of the idea of creation of living, and I would say the reality, is that as we choose those things, our whole universe expands. So your business will just grow, your body will start to thrive, your relationships will start to thrive as you make pleasure a priority and relaxation and all the other things. So it's sort of, instead of creating your business and suffering to make money so that someday you can enjoy, we're going to flip that on its head and have the beauty, the elegance, and all of that good stuff. Choose it now and see what that choice actually creates in your world in every way. So thank you so much. Enjoy, and I'll see you when I see you, where I see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.